Hi crocheters of the world, I'm Oana and this is Oana's crochet channel on YouTube, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to crochet this wingspan shawl in Tunisian crochet technique. Now I designed this shawl and I also wrote the pattern, so you have it on Ravelry. You have the link below this tutorial, so it's free. You can just have it and follow the video tutorial, and maybe it's easier for you because in the tutorial actually I will explain only the first 3 or 4 triangles, and the rest it's more or less the same, only that we begin with a smaller triangle, and then we just go on working larger and larger, and actually we increase for each triangle, increase with 6 stitches, so we add 6 stitches for each triangle, and this means that we will have 6 more stitches, so we'll be longer and wider of course each triangle, as you can see. And we have 11 triangles all around. It's really easy as a pattern, it's not difficult. And what else I can say? Yes, you can use the Tunisian crochet hook with cable or the rigid one, so it's okay for this pattern, because if you want to work a pullover or a cardigan, you will need the Tunisian crochet with cable. It's really impossible to work it with rigid Tunisian crochet. Actually, for me, there will be a pattern with a pullover in Tunisian crochet. I really like it. It's really nice, this kind of technique, and it's worked with the simple Tunisian crochet stitch and purl stitch, so nothing else. Okay, now what else I can say? I worked this with Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable, really nice yarn, soft, and I work it with a 6.5mm hook, even if here it's written 5 to 6. So for a Tunisian crochet project to wear, you will want to work with a larger size, the size that is written on the label of the yarn, the skein, because you want something soft and nice, and you don't want a thick texture and rigid. Okay. Now you can work it with any kind of yarn, but the important thing is to be color changing yarn, because it's very important. It's beautiful in just one color. I don't know, I don't think will be the same, will look the same. Okay, now what else? I used for these 1.5 skeins of Red Heart, and this is 100 grams, so yes, 1.5, let's say, skeins. This is the second one, so as you can see, and yes, that's all. Let us begin. I think I give you all the information that you need to begin this shawl, and yes, let us begin. Okay, now to begin this scarf, I will work with this yarn just because it's easily to understand what am I doing, and the slip knot, and 18 chains, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 and 18. And now in these 17 chains, because we already have the first loop on the hook, so we insert the hook into the second and we pull up a loop. We just go on and pull up loops for the first step of the first round, actually row of the scarf. Now that we have all the loops on the hook, we want to work them for the second step of the same row. So yarn over, pull through 1, always pull through 1 at the beginning, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 till the end of the row. Now we have 18 stitches, and from the second row, so actually I structured the written instruction too like this. The first row, the rows that we have to work to complete the triangle, and then the last row of the triangle, the same triangle. It's very important because the first and the last are very, very important. Then there is a technique to work the rest of the triangle. And now for this technique we will work like this. Now we have 18, and we have to work all the stitches, but not till the end. We will leave unworked the last 3 stitches into each of our row until we will have left on the hook only 3 stitches. Okay, so let me just show you how it looks. So this is my very first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So we work the simple crochet, Tunisian crochet stitch, which means insert the hook around the vertical bar and pull up a loop. And as I said before, in each row now for the triangle, so to form the triangle we will work in each row the stitches as they are, less the last 3 stitches. So we will have few in each row from now on until we will remain with 3 stitches, a few 3 stitches. So these 3 stitches we will want to left unwork, and yarn over, pull through 1, and then of course yarn over, pull through 2 until the end of the row. Of course from 18 less 3 I have 15, and now from 15 I will have 12 because I won't work my last 3 stitches on this row too, and I will complete 5 rows, and this is written in the, and this is 1, 2, 3. So I have to work 1 more. You don't even have to count. 1 more, leave the last 3 and go back. And now I wrote into the pattern how many rows you have to complete for the mid part, let's say for the part of the triangle, so in between the first and the last stitch, the first and the last row of each triangle. So for this first triangle we work the first stitch, the first row, and we have to complete 5 more rows to until we will have only 3 stitches left. So this was the first two, so with 15 and with 12, and now I will continue on until I have 3 more with 9, 6 and 3. So as you can see, I'm going on, working my stitches less the last 3 stitches in each row. So I have 1, 2, 3, I stop here, I have 6 on my hook, which means I have to complete 1 more row. And 2, 3. And I have to left unworked these 3, so I work my last row, which contains 3 stitches. Okay, and this is what I have so far. And these are the rows, the 5 rows inside the triangle. So this is my first, and from here I will count 1, 2, from the second, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, last row. Last row we will work all the remaining stitches that we left unworked in each of our rows. So we begin with these 3. The very first we have it on the hook and we have 2 more to work, but we will work in pearl, Tunisian pearl stitch. Yeah, so we push like this the yarn in front of the hook, Then we insert the hook for each of the last stitch of the group of 3, pull through 2. Okay, now let the yarn under the hook and keep it here with your finger, yarn over and pull, and this is the purl stitch. So let it fall under the hook and keep it here while working the stitch. And we work like this until the end. So actually into the last row of each of our triangle we will have the same number of stitches that we had on the first row. Okay, this is another general rule for this pattern. Okay, so I'm working on my second to last group of 3, and here I have my last one, so just want to work my last one. Another thing, the first and the last row of each of our triangle from now on will be working purl stitch. Okay, and this is my first triangle. Now from the second triangle, let me just finish actually this row, so the last row of the first triangle. To finish a row, you know you have to work the stitches of the crochet hook. And this is the second step, actually it's not a row, it's the second step of the same row. Okay, and now I finish it. Let us begin with the second, and from the second we will add stitches. Now we will actually add 9 chains, but we will work in each of our first row. From now on we will have 10 more triangles to work, so in each of them in first row we will work last 3, but these last 3 stitches we left unworked until the end of the scarf, and we will work then one long row. So it's very important. This maybe you will like to use a marker, actually I will use and I show you. Now chain 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And how we calculate the stitches that we will have for the next triangle. So for the second in this case we have 9 chains added, and we will work from these 18 that we have, the total of 18, we will work only 15, because as I said we leave out 3 stitches, but these 3 stitches that we leave out in the first row of each triangle will be left out until the end of the pattern. Okay, so we will work them at the end actually of the pattern, so when the 11 triangles are ready. So which means we will have 15 plus 9, which means 24 stitches, a total of 24 stitches for the second triangle. Now the very first chain, the very first loop, I have it on the hook. I will insert the hook into the second chain and pull up a loop for the next 8 chains, so I will have my 9 loops on the hook. Okay, and we will work in purl stitch. As I said, we work in purl stitch the first row of each triangle too. So which is my first, this is my first stitch now, and I have to work it because I added 9, so this is my first now, and I just go on and work my 15 stitches. You don't have to count because they are 15 if you work less 3, the last 3, okay, so it's really easy. And this is how you calculate your total of stitches for your next triangle. Oops. And I'm working in purl stitch. let me show you, 1, 2, 3. So just leave them like this. Now pull through one and go on. Now in this first stitch I want to put the marker, because from here I will begin to work. I will have my total number of stitches for this triangle, and I will begin to work my rows less 3 for the triangle. And for the first triangle I worked 5, and now for the second I will work 7 rows until I will have only 3 stitches left on the hook. So from here I will leave 3 stitches in each row, the last 3 stitches in each row. So from 24 I will have 21, 18, 15, 12, and so on. And it's written in the pattern how many stitches you must have left into each row. And why from 5 I will work here 7? Because I added 6 stitches. So which means the 6 stitches I will have to work 2 more to have 3 stitches left on my hook into the last row, because I have 2 groups of 3 more. No, so it's 6, it's 2 groups of 3. Okay, so let me just work this triangle 2. Now we just work again in simple stitch, because this is the first row of my 7 that I have to work less 3 to complete the triangle. So this is the idea of the structure, of how I structure the pattern. So the first row where we add 9 chains and we have the total number of stitches. The rows that we have to work 1, 2, 3. Oops, so there are 3. I have to leave them out, and I just want to work like this in each row until I reach again 3, and then I will work my last row of the triangle. So let me finish. This is the first of my 7. So it's the first row, the rows that compose actually the triangle, and the last row. So let me finish. I have 6 more rows and I will be back to show you what I have. So I complete my 7 rows, and here I have my groups of 3 that I have to work them all into my last row. Now this is the first, and from the second we want to count. As you can see, I have also only 3 stitches left into my last. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 without the first and the last row. Okay, for the last row we work in purl stitch, and we go on and work all the stitches left from our 7 rows, which means that we won't work that 3 stitches left from our first row, the row where we decide the total number of the stitches into the triangular, which is 24 now. Okay, this is very important to understand. So that's why I always put a marker into the first of my rows that I work inside the triangle. So not the first, not the last row, but the rows that I work to complete my triangle. Okay, now I have to work my last, and I have the marker. Now I know where to stop, but it's easy even without marker. because you know it's here. These 3, we just have to forget them, okay? So just forget that stitches. Okay, now I will complete the second step for my last row of the second triangle. I will be back to show you how to begin the third. Okay, now to begin, now we have, can you see, we have the first 2 triangles worked. Now to begin the third, we chain 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 plus how many stitches we will have here without our last 3, we will have, so we have 24, okay? Without 3, it's 21. So 21 plus 9, we will have for the third triangle 30 stitches. So this is one way to calculate the total amount of stitches that you will have for the next triangle, or 24, which is so the total number of the previous triangle plus 6. The 6 stitches that we add. They are only 6 stitches that we add because we add 9 chains, but we work less 3. So this is 24 plus 6, which means 30. So these are the 2 ways. Okay, now let me work my first row of my third triangle. I pull up loops to have my 9 loops here, and then in purl stitch, this is the first now, and now in purl stitch I work all the stitches less 3. So don't forget, less 3, and this will be the total amount of stitches to work for the third triangle, so for the next triangle, okay? So just go on a little bit faster because it's only the purl stitch. It's not that difficult, the Tunisian crochet. You just have to like it, and if we like it, you'll see it's not difficult. So 1, 2, 3, so I have to work 1 more, and I want to forget about this 3. Now work 2 or 3 stitches and then put into the first, the first here, your marker. Now you will be sure that you won't go further, okay? Just be sure that you won't go further, because that 3 stitches left unworked into each of our first row, we will be worked only at the end of the scarf. So we don't want to work the first. Okay, and this is the first row of my third triangle, and from here I will begin again with less 3, less 3, less 3 until I will reach, I will have into my last row only 3. My last row of the inner part of the triangle. So I had here seven rows to work to the row with only 3, and for the next I have 2 more because I had 6 stitches, which means I will have 9 rows to complete until I will reach the 9th, actually only with 3 stitches. So I will work 3 less 3 less 3. Okay, let me finish this triangle too. I finished the third triangle. I have to actually the stitches with less 3 3 3, and I have into my last row 3, and without the first, from the second I want to count, and I must have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now you have all the numbers that you must have in each of your row, these inner rows for the triangle, for each of your triangles. So don't worry, I just want to show you the structure and not actually the stitches, the number of stitches, but how it goes, how it looks, and yes, the most important aspects. And now I will work my last row in purl stitch, and I will work all my groups of 3 that I left unworked in these 9 rows. Okay, and I will have again the same number of stitches from my first row of the triangle, which means I will have again 30. Now let me finish this last row, and I will be back to show you one more time how to begin another triangle, and then I will show you how to work the last row, so actually the border of your scarf. It's really easy. So here I have 3 triangles already done. Now for the fourth, again the same thing. I will put 9 chains, and then I will work less 3 from the amount of 30 that I have here for the last row of the third triangle. So 30 less 3 is 27, plus 9 is 36, or 30 plus 6 is 36. So the two ways of to calculate the amount of stitches that you have of the beginning of a next triangle. Okay, so let me work this one. So from here I will have 36, the amount of total number of stitches for the fourth triangle. And then I will put again the marker on my first row, which is this one that I will work it with the chain 9 and with purl stitch, and I will go on again, less 3, less 3, less 3, only that I will have how many rows? Not 7 but plus 2, 9 rows to complete until I will have the last row with 3 stitches, and then the last row again with 36, and again in purl stitch, which will join again all the left the 3 groups of 3 left unworked. Okay, so chain 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then pull up 8 more loops because you already have 1 on the hook, and work in purl stitch. How many stitches? From 30 you will work only 27, so less 3, and 27 plus 9 is 36, and from these 36 you will work 9 rows. So in the pattern you have exactly this thing. You will need 9 rows, and then you have all the stitches in each of your 9 rows. So 27, no, it's 36, sorry, so it's 33, then 30, then 27, 24, and so on. Okay, so the number of stitches in each row of these 9 rows that are worked in between the first and the last row of each triangle. 9 into this fourth, but of course it's 2 more. You have 2 more, and I explain it to you why. In each triangle these rows will be 2 more. So from 5 we had 7, then 5, 7, 9, and now for the fourth we will have actually 11. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I have 36 stitches and I will work 11 rows. So sorry, it was my fault. So from 9 I will work 11 because I have 6 more stitches and I have 2 rows more to complete, less 3. Okay, now work your first, your second, maybe your 3, and you are ready to put the marker here. And go on with your 11 rows, less 3, less 3. So I finished my 4th triangle too, and I also finished conclude the last row, so that one in which we work all the 3 stitches left, and I have the same number of stitches at the beginning of the row that I had in the beginning row, which is 36. And now let's suppose that this is our last triangle on the scarf, even if we have to work 11. And I want to show you how to finish, actually, how to work the border. Now, for the border, you have to switch to a smaller size hook. And I worked all this with a 5mm hook. I will switch to 4mm hook. Now, I didn't write in the written instruction this aspect that is very important. So I worked all my scarf with a 6.5mm hook, and I worked with 5mm hook the border. Now for the border you will work only purl stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, and you will work like this. All the stitches that you have left on the last triangle, and in this case is 36, but into the last triangle of the scarf, so into the last triangle, which is the 11th, you will have 78 stitches. So let us work all the stitches first. Oops, I said purl stitch, so sorry. So we will work purl stitch for the first 36 stitches, which are exactly the total number of the last triangle made. As I said, in the actually pattern you will have 78, and of course you can continue on if you want it longer. You can go on and with the same technique add more triangles. So it's exactly the same. Okay, let me work my 36 stitches here, purl stitch, and I will be back when I finish to show you how to work the groups of 3 that we have left here. Now actually we have 1, 2, 3 groups of 3, but in the total of the 11 triangles for the scarf, you will have 10 groups of 3 of your triangles. So I finished my 36, and now I want to work on the groups of 3, but I won't skip directly into my first group of 3. I will just work another stitch in between the rows here, okay, because there is a distance. So I want to work 1 stitch here in the middle, and then the first group of 3. Of course, purl stitch too. So here somewhere work 1 more stitch and then skip directly to the first group of 3. And the last one, pull through 2 loops into the last one. And now again the same thing, work 1 here somewhere in between the rows, like this, and the other group of 3. And these are the groups of 3 that we left unworked into each of our first row. And now again, somewhere here around the row, in between the rows, work 1 and then I have my last group of 3. Okay, and now I will work the second step, so all the stitches. Pull through 1 and then pull through 2 until the end. So the second row I will work 1 per stitch row, so within all these stitches, so just 1 on the border, okay? And then I will be back to show you actually how to bend off into the purl stitch. And now to cast off with the same stitch, so the purl stitch, we will work the purl stitch, so work into the first stitch, your purl stitch, and now pass through the first loop on the hook, the second one, and again work the purl stitch like this, and pass the first ring loop on the hook through the second to cast off. So work the stitch and pass